Heyo, it's OMNIDOG here for Organic Priced Books video. And I'm going to do an overview for Organic Priced Books today of Superman, Son of Kal-El, Volume 1, The Truth by the fabulous Tom Taylor, and Batman the Imposter by Mattson Tomlin. Ooh, art by Andrea Sorrentino. Not familiar with Mattson Tomlin, but we're going to go through it, give an overview, see what we think. Organic price books, OmniDog, and if you want to save some dough, $2 off code OmniDog with at Organic Price Books, and 5% off shipping 3 or more books together with a code OmniDog. Ship it together. That's real savings. I've done it, so I know. That's right. Okay, so let's start off with Superman, Son of KalEl. Overview. Standard size hardcover. Move you out of the way, Batman. And what's it look like underneath? That's pretty cool. So we'll go from there. And this, of course, like an homage cover, which is very boss. This is Jonathan Kent, son of Superman and Lois Lane. And it starts out, John Timms does some really good art. He does have the sort of pink shiny nose effect on a lot of people. And we start out with Batman and Wonder Woman being there at the Fortress of Solitude at the birth of Lois and Clark's son, Jonathan. And interestingly, Batman says his unique physiology, Kryptonian and human, he could be more than Clark. So that's a bit of, not an omen, but it's a teaser as to where Tom Taylor might be taking this book. He could be more than even Superman is. He's also got, as Wonder Woman points out, he'll have the compassion of Superman, the fierce commitment of Lois Lane too. And Wonder Woman calls out Batman for running tests on the kid, unbeknownst to the parents. So it's great. And the interesting part of the story is that they have aged Jonathan up to a teenager now. If you're not familiar with that, that happened in the Bendis run. What your feelings are on that? You know, I get it. It would have been fun if he and Damian could have stayed 10 years old forever. But they aged him up. Whether or not that was Bendis or editorial doesn't really matter. Jonathan is now wearing the symbol of hope, the S. And the art is very good. Damian's been also aged up a bit. They're still buds, and it's still great. They still have an interesting relationship. Very, very fun, interesting give and take between the two of them. And that's a great cover. Look at my boy Crypto. So there's an interesting plot here that there's an island called Gamora where the president, who has instilled himself as president, claims it's an island paradise, but there are people leaving as refugees. And this is where we see Jonathan sort of have a bit of a conscience. I hesitate to say social conscience because I know that will drive some people crazy, but he's interested in justice and he's interested in it in his way. And his father, he asked his father, why haven't you done more in this way? And Superman replies, well, I'm not from here. I'm from somewhere else. But you're from here. And if you feel it's your duty, if it calls to your heart that you want more justice and you're willing to put it on the line, then you should follow your heart. So we've got a teenage Superman, because it does say Superman, son of Kal-El, rescues the refugees, and at the same time, Superman, Jonathan, is having to deal with a bunch of superpowered people that are all of a sudden attacking all around, but they don't know, they don't remember where their powers came from. They don't know who they are. There's a lot of them. And Jonathan has to figure out where they're coming from and why they're attacking him and why they're disrupting the world. And here he is seen standing up for the Gamoran, didn't mean to say Gamorrean guard. He's standing up for them, gets arrested, and this is the issue. This is the book where, yeah, Jonathan kisses his friend in a way that means they're interested in each other. If you don't dig that, social conscience Superman, who's possibly bi, maybe gay, maybe you should go to a different book. But this is a Tom Taylor book. It's well written. It's got a lot of layers. And most importantly, Jonathan Kent does a ton of growing up, and there's a ton of character growth just in this first book alone. And it contains the first 6 issues. Yeah, the first 6 issues. I love that there's character growth in this, and there's a lot of character growth for Jonathan Kent. And here we have Henry Bendix, who's the president at Gamora, and of course, he's up to no good. I found this book very interesting, very well done. If you're interested in young Superman, because also Superman leaves the planet. In aging Jonathan up, back in the Bendis run, they took Superboy at the time into the future. He saw that his father didn't come back from going off planet. I think that's probably going to change because the future isn't set in stone. But his father goes off planet, and so Jonathan is left in charge of Earth in Superman's absence. So he's got a lot on his plate. There's a lot of good character growth. There are a lot of fun. Moments with Damian, with his new friends, because he doesn't have a whole lot of friends. He tries to go undercover at a high school or college rather, so he can get friends. And there's a lot of cool appearances. Wally West, Wonder Woman, a lot of great people show up in this, a lot of great characters show up in this, and you really see Jonathan coming into his own, trying to figure things out. Remember, he's just a teenager really at this point, and think of yourself as a teenager and all the things maybe you are a teenager that's watching this, all the things you learned and you went through and hopefully grew. I didn't grow enough, but it's very well done. It's very different, but it's also Tom Taylor, so it's very well written. I would give this a solid 4 out of 5. If you're interested in more Tom Taylor stuff, there's, of course, I just did a book, a Batman book that he just did, Batman the Detective, which I really enjoyed. You can check that out. Of course, he's done X-23, All New Wolverine, rather. Injustice. Tom Taylor's rising star. I think he's a star already. So that's Superman, Son of Kal-El. Then we've got Batman the Imposter, which, let me set Superman aside. Then Batman the Imposter, also standard size. And this is a story set in the very beginning of Batman's career. So there's the inside cover, Black Label book. And it's got Leslie Tompkins as his main friend, a young Batman. There's Leslie Tompkins. And Batman shows up, a young Bruce Wayne shows up to her office. And she feels like she's not sure she can trust Batman. Finds out that he's Bruce Wayne because he crashes into her window. He's looking for sanctuary and help. And Batman in this book is a very different Batman. As I've said before, Batman takes on the voice of the writer. And in this book, because of his support for Batman, Detective Gordon gets kicked off the force. Alfred is nowhere to be seen because a young Bruce Wayne is so difficult to handle. He's grieving so hard and acting out so much because of the loss of his parents that he is being turned over to Leslie Tompkins, and that's how Bruce knows to go to her for help when he gets banged up really badly. And they have a bit of a therapy session. She wants to turn him into the police and asks for a good reason not to, and said the only way I'm not calling into the police is if you go through therapy with me because you are clearly disturbed. And so it follows Bruce as Batman, some of his growing pains. I enjoy Andrea Sorrentino's art a lot. And the interesting central conceit here for the book is that, not only does he feel like he's making a difference, she asks him why you're doing it. And he said, I'm making a difference. Last week, Gotham had its first night with 0 violent crimes in 54 years. So he's making a difference. But this book is called Batman the Imposter for a reason. Somebody shows up dressed as Batman and starts killing people, killing hardened criminals that are out of jail or Arkham, not in Arkham. They also have Bruce Wayne falling in love, and I found that to be very interesting and well done. Batman does, there's a lot of character growth here too in this book because he is not caring for the big Wayne Manor and the big Batcave, and he's lonely and isolated, and that shows really well through the writing. But he's got a problem because somebody's out there killing, looking just like him. So the Gotham PD, who had sort of turned a blind eye to him, and Gordon, who had actively befriended him, now they're out to get him too because he looks like a killer. And it's the main part of the book is, how does Batman solve this crime of an imposter killing people? What's the lead? What are the connections? Where are we going with this? And he gets beaten. He gets beaten up all the time. Leslie Tompkins fixes him up an amazing amount of times. There's also a detective in this that's looking into several angles of the story. Her name's Blair Wong. She's trying to find Batman in general, and then she wants to find the Batman who's killing people. I found this story really well done too. The art is brilliant, and this shows. I liked the angle that there was an imposter Batman, well, killing criminals. Sorry, I happen to dig that part of it, and what he has to go through, what Bruce Wayne Batman has to go through in order to solve it. And it's a good payoff. It's a good, satisfying ending, and it's got Batman dealing with a lot of power brokers in Gotham, and same with the Detective Wong, who's trying to solve 2 different cases at a certain point. And spoiler alert, something happens between Bruce and Detective Wong where they kind of fall in love. That gets complicated further on in the story. I found this book to be a solid 4 out of 5 too. I dug it. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Mattson Tomlin's writing. However, I found this book a really interesting look into a young Batman and what the repercussions would be if he acted out, drove Alfred away, became friends with Gordon, and Gordon's career suffered because of it. So this is a Black Label book, so it's, I guess, a bit of an Elseworlds tale, but I found it to be very worthwhile, and it's a solid 4 out of 5. And Andrea Sorrentino has done artwork for the Jeff Lemire book. What the heck is the name of that one? The one with the barn. I can never remember the name of it. Um, you know, uh, I can't think of it. Anyway, Andrea Sorrentino's got great art, and as soon as I turn this video off, I'll think of it, of what the book is. It's the Jeff Lemire book. Wait, let me look at my Jeff Lemire section. Gideon Falls, that's what it is. What a nut. Yeah, Gideon Falls, if you want to see more of his good art. And so this has been OMNIDOG doing an overview. I'm OMNIDOG doing an overview for organic priced books, where use my code OMNIDOG to save $2. 5% off shipping 3 or more books together. OMNIDOG, ship it together. Thanks for watching. Peace and love, peace and love. And you can go to my channel, OMNIDOG's Vault, to see the full review of both of these books. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and love.